Do you guys have any thoughts on what the pro tours would look like moving forward once this whole thing settles? Like, are they talking? Have they given the players any idea of any changes, or there's going to have to be some differences, right?
I mean, you hear rumors and people come up with suggestions and ideas. So I would imagine things are going to be different to some extent. How different they're going to be, I'm not sure. Um, Obviously, I have my own ideas for what could be pretty good moving forward. I definitely think the tour does need a little bit of shaking up in a few areas just to make conditions better for everyone rather than just the top guys. But yeah, it's easier said than done because, like I said, everyone's kind of on standby, including the tour. So there's no money coming in either. And
Right.
so I would imagine just that in itself limits what they can do moving forward. But definitely some introspection needs to be done to see what can be done better moving on, because they won't get a chance to really shake things up anytime as they won't get a better chance than now, because now they've got all the time in the world to do it.
Yeah, I think Phil's on the right track there. Like, I don't know. I think the more and more I think about it, I realize how terrible this situation is. And like, I look back and I'm like, wow, to be in the position we were and what we had coming in for tennis, like how it was trending upwards so fast, has kind of put a halt to everything. And I think we're going to see like the tennis is going to change professionally. They're going to have to make a huge change. And I think they are coming to, they're having those discussions about making big changes. But just from seeing like all these tournaments that don't make money, and like a big tournament like Rogers Cup at Masters 1000, we've seen and read about now what it did to Tennis Canada and how many people are losing their jobs and how they're having to cut funding. In 2020, they're probably not going to have any challengers. Or 2021, sorry, they're probably not going to have any challengers. Like all those little events, I don't think we're going to see half as many of them in the coming years. And that's kind of what's scary. And even 250s, you know, all the 250s, none of them make money. What's going to happen to those organizations? Like, that's why I think the ATP they're trying to make big changes. And I think we'll come back and we'll see a big change in not obviously how the game's played, but just more the structure of ranking and tournaments, like the scale of what tournaments and how many points you get and stuff like that, and money and all that. I think we could see a big change in that, and obviously maybe even less events, maybe a shorter calendar year, because the demand for wanting events is not going to be the same.
Yeah, those are all good points. I
crazy.
read that the 4 Grand Slams were pooling some money together for the players ranked outside the top 100. I thought they had raised. They put out a figure. It looked like they had raised over $6 million already. I don't know how that's getting distributed, or when, or if, but that's just a quick thing that I saw. I know that'd be one change, but yeah, everybody needs to be supporting this, right? If you don't even have the chance to play, how can you earn anything?
Yeah, and
exactly.
This way, I think as well, because obviously the top guys, you'll say they're losing more potential money than the lower guys, but at the same time, they have already amassed quite a bit. Whereas there's some guys that haven't really been making money on the tour, and now they're just burning through their funds that usually would go through tennis just to get by because they're not able to work or even a coach. So you have to think of a situation of a guy, say 300, 400, 500, doesn't really have a whole lot of disposable income to start up with. If they burn through all of that income, they're probably going to have to take a few months to earn a bunch of that back before they're able to start out on tour. And you might see a lot of guys just say, I'm going to hang up the rackets because I don't have money to start up with anymore. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of that.
I think all the players, anyone outside of honestly the top 50 are struggling, just because, you know, typically the guys at the top are a little bit older. They have families, they have, you know, mortgage to pay, they have bills coming in on properties around the world. So even those top guys, I think they're feeling it as well, like guys 50 to 100. And then outside of 100 and 200 to even where Pepe was talking about 300 to 500, you know, now you're talking about guys 100, 200 that have to they're not going to have any coaches now. They're not going to be able to travel with the coach. So even though they're not struggling as much right now, as, a player 300, 400, 500. When they come back on tour, it's going to be, they're not going to have the same resources they were or they did. So it's going to be, I think it's just tough for everyone, but I think the ATP is coming close to getting a player relief fund distributed to, I think guys 200 plus.
Yeah, 250 to 700 from what I heard.
So I think that'll work. I think they're very close to coming to making an announcement. So
it would be nice to hear some good news
Yeah.
out of all this. It's no, it sounds pretty dire the way you guys are describing it. So
I don't know. Yeah, I try to be positive.
Yeah.
Because I do like change. I think change is really good. But at the same time, it's just kind of, crazy to see. And obviously we're just talking tennis, but like the whole world, it's going to change. Unemployment's at, I think, almost 50% right now. So, or it's going to get to that, which is insane.
Well, you have to look at it this way. I think that there can be a lot of positives that come out of this really terrible situation, but to get there, we obviously have to take one step back to take two forward, but it's a massive step back for the next foreseeable future. I mean, we don't know how long it's going to take to set everything up, the economy, people getting jobs again, and the workforce, the general workforce, I would imagine is going to be very different. The demand is going to be super high, and the supply of jobs is not going to be very, very high, I would imagine, at the beginning, because there's only so much that people can, or companies are going to be able to pay their employees. So like you see a lot of layoffs, and I think it's kind of going to be similar situation like with what Brayden said with the tournaments. There's only going to be a certain amount of tournaments, a lot less than there used to be. So going to make it tougher on everybody.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you guys chiming in on that. Mac, you got another one for these guys?
Well, so I was just thinking, like, so the Wimbledon canceled for the year. Obviously, I think they wouldn't have been able to play this year, even at a later date. But the French, they postponed, right? Am I correct? I think it's the French.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on say, things get much better on a French Open at that time of the year? Because it's not, things change, it's a way different climate at that time of the year, I would imagine. And it must be different for players.
I mean, it's not going to be your typical French Open. I would imagine it's going to be quite a bit worse. And to me, it's a little bit. Favorite. I think it's a little bit forced. And honestly, like, it's better to have the French Open than not to have it. But they didn't really consult with anyone, so having it right after U.S. Open, I think it's a week in between or something like that, from what I read.
Going to clay too.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough. I mean, I'm sure, because obviously there's a lot of money involved, so people are gonna compete, but it's not an ideal situation. But like I said, nothing is right now. So
yeah, and for that week, a quick flight to the Monkland Tennis Club, where our courts are, if we're open, we're happy to have you guin train on some clay before heading there.
Yeah, come play on the green clay.
We'll get you like that quick plug, Zach?
That's not a bad idea.
There you go.
All right, well, guys, listen, I really appreciate you taking the time. Do you guys plan on? So, when was the last time the three of you were together? Does that happen? Or
it hasn't happened in a while.
Probably towards the end of last year. I would say like November, December time. That was probably the last time we hung out. And we always make sure to at least get together for dinner and some drinks, but hasn't happened recently. I saw Brayden, obviously. I think last time was when he was in Vancouver.
4 weeks ago, yeah.
Is that 4 weeks? I've lost track of time. I don't even know. I don't remember.
Yeah, 4 weeks ago.
But 4 weeks ago. So.
Yeah, I was gonna come fly out to a tournament somewhere where they were gonna play this year, but I think that'll have to be next year.
Yeah.
At this point.
Yeah, Max got his sights set on Europe, specifically Eastern Europe.
Hey, there are worse places to go. Well, actually,
I mean, he says anywhere, but we know he wants it to be Eastern Europe, ideally.
Eastern Europe, yeah.
Looks like there's some cool tournaments there.
Yeah, there definitely are some.
All right, well, guys, again, really appreciate you taking the time. Love to see the three of you together here at the club at one point. It'd be great to have you on our green clay if you ever do want to come prep for any clay tournaments. So looking forward to seeing you here. And again, appreciate you taking the time. Stay safe and try to stay active as much as you can.
Yeah. Thanks a lot,
Appreciate it.
Mac.
Thanks for having me. It was fun. See you guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. See ya.
Bye.
See you, Mac. See you, Brayden.